All right, we're ready. Everybody, please rise. Mr. Mecca, would you lead us in the pledge tonight? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make our every decision fair-minded and in the best interest for all its residents.
Thank you. Please remain standing. Let us observe a moment of silence in memory of Saverio Sam Terenzi, our longtime town accountant, Portchester trustee. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the Rye Town Board meeting of January 19th, 2016. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Jackson.
Here.
Councilperson Marty.
Here.
Councilperson Baxter.
Here.
Councilperson Villanova.
Here.
Supervisor Zuckerman.
Here. And thank you all for coming. And this is my first meeting as supervisor, and Tony Baxter and Lindsay Jackson's meeting as councilpersons. And I think I speak for all of us. We are delighted to be here, and hope that we can help lead the town in a proper direction for all the residents of the town of Rye. First item is approval of minutes for December 15th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item is approval of a Crawford Park special event. Do we have anybody here for the special event?
I frankly forgot that the meeting was going to be moved up to 7:30. I told them to show up at 8 o'clock. I expect someone here.
All right, we will put this at the end of the agenda. Comments from the public. Does anybody wish to speak from the public? Seeing none. Resolutions. Madam Clerk, I think we have several.
Yes, we do. Should I start?
Go right ahead.
Resolution A, resolve that TD Bank, JP Morgan Chase, Sterling National Bank, Wells Fargo, M&T Bank, and Customers First Bank be and they hereby are designated as depositories for the town of Rye.
Motion and a second, please.
So
Hold it.
moved.
We have a problem, I think. Hello? Okay. Hope. Press the button on the mic. I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Am I supposed to hold it?
No, I think once it's on.
You're good.
It will, if you push, it will light up bright green.
I- I think that's, that,
Why don't we try to see, hopes that handheld microphone, see if you could just turn that microphone on and use that.
that doesn't really work well, because you really have to hold it. All right.
Okay, so we had a motion.
Motion, who moved?
Villanova.
Second?
I'll
Lindsay.
second it.
You want me to call the roll each time, or?
How's it usually done? Paul, how's it usually done?
Usually you call the roll for these. Yes. you can call the roll.
Okay, is it a voice vote appropriate in these?
I think for these you probably better call the roll.
Okay, very good.
Because they are, organizational.
Okay. Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Aye.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution B, resolve that TD Bank, JP Morgan Chase, Sterling National Bank, Customers First Bank, Webster Bank, and M&T Bank, previously designated as depositories for the town of Rye, must submit a revised custodial agreement when and if the current agreement is revised, amended, or changed in any way.
Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Lindsay? Jackson?
Yes.
Nardi?
Aye.
Baxter?
Yes.
Villanova?
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution C, resolve that the Journal News, the Westmore News, the Rise Sound, Shore Review, the Hometown Media Group be and they are hereby designated the official newspapers of the town of Rye for publication of notices, resolutions, and/or ordinances for the town of Rye for the year 2016.
Motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Jackson,
Yes.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution D. Resolve that all authorized personnel of the town of Rye using their own vehicles on official business be compensated at the rate of 56 cents, actually it's 54 cents per mile, commencing January 1st, 2016.
Motion and second.
Is there a further resolve?
So, and obviously want to continue to read.
Right,
Oh,
there's a further resolve.
Be it further resolved that said personnel shall be required to keep a mileage log of each such trip made, which will be reviewed by the supervisor or designated confidential secretary before payment is approved.
Motion and a second.
So moved as amended.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution E, resolve that the third Tuesday of every month be and it hereby is designated as the regular meeting night of the Town Board of the Town of Rye for the year 2016 pursuant to the adopted procedure of the Town Board, and be it further resolved that said meetings are to commence at 7:30 PM.
Motion and second.
So moved.
Second. Lindsay.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution F, whereas the town of Rye is a member of the Association of Towns and needs to designate voting delegates to attend annual meeting in New York City from February 14th to the 17th of 2016. Now therefore be it resolved that Town of Rye Justice Anthony M. Provenzano be and he hereby is designated to attend and be a voting delegate for the Town of Rye at said meeting, and be it further resolved that Town of Rye Court Clerk Ann Capisi be and she hereby is designated to attend and be an alternate delegate at said meeting.
Motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution G, whereas the Town Board of the Town of Rye has heretofore created the Office of Director of Purchasing as per Section 20, what is that, subsection 3E of the Town Law of the State of New York. Now therefore be it resolved that Deborah A. Reisner, 21 Norman Drive, Rye, New York, be and she hereby is appointed Director of Purchasing for the Town of Rye, New York, for a 2-year term commencing January 1st, 2016, and expiring December 31st, 2017.
Motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution H, whereas Paul J. Noto residing at 1308 Arlington Street, Mamaroneck, New York, be and he hereby is appointed as the town attorney for a 2-year term pursuant to the provisions of Section 24 of the town law, commencing January 1st, 2016, and expiring December 31st, 2017, at an annual compensation of $56,752, payable in equal biweekly installments. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to the provisions of Section 102, Article 8 of the Town Law, as amended, all expenses necessarily incurred by authorization of the Town Board and paid by said town attorney in executing the duties of said office shall be a town charge, And be it further resolved that said Paul J. Noto shall execute and file in the office of the town clerk the necessary oath of office within 30 days of said appointment as required by law.
Motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution I, resolved that David Burns, residing at 33 Haynes Boulevard, Portchester, New York, be and he hereby is appointed as the town controller for the town of Rye for a 2-year term pursuant to the provisions of Section 20, subsection 3B of the town law, commencing January 1st, 2016, and expiring December 31st, 2017. Now therefore be it resolved that said David Burns be compensated at an annual salary of $25,214 payable in equal biweekly installments.
Motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Jackson,
Yes.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution J, whereas the Town Board of the Town of Rye, a duly constituted town of the first class, deems it necessary and proper to create positions at marriage officer, as of marriage officer possessing statutory authority to solemnize marriages within the Town of Rye. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to the provisions of such Section 11C of the Domestic Relations Law, Supervisor Gary J. Zuckerman, confidential secretary to the supervisor Deborah A. Reisner, and town clerk Hope B. Vespia be and they hereby are appointed marriage officers of the town of Rye. And be it further resolved that this appointment shall be effective commencing January 1st, 2016, and expiring December 31st, 2017.
Motion and second.
On the question, is there compensation for the marriage officers?
There's a,
I think it's up to $75
Okay.
each per wedding.
Very good. Okay, I would just include that's up to $75, and so moved, as amended.
Second.
Call the roll.
Jackson,
Yes.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes, and let me interject.
Villanova.
This is,
I'm sorry.
Yes.
this is really one of the great perks of being elected office, being able to marry people. Love it. Go ahead.
Okay, Resolution K. Resolved that Martha Sokol McCarthy, Esquire, residing at 305 West Street, Mamaroneck, New York, be and she hereby is appointed town prosecutor / deputy town attorney for a 2-year term effective January 1st, 2016, and expiring December 31st, 2017. Shall be compensated in annual salary of $12,000 payable in equal biweekly installments, and be it further resolved that pursuant to the provisions of Section 102, Article 8 of the town law as amended, all expenses necessarily incurred by authorization of the town board and paid by said town prosecutor and deputy town attorney in executing the duties of said office shall be a town charge.
Motion and second, please.
So moved.
So,
Second.
Jackson,
aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
resolution I.
Resolved that Michael O'Connor, residing at
That's a
61
L.
Claremont Avenue.
L, said I.
Oh. Michael O'Connor.
Oh, that's right, excuse me, I'm sorry. Okay, that Michael
O'Connor, residing at 61 Claremont Avenue, Portchester, New York, be and he is hereby designated to provide bailiff services to the Justice Court of the Town of Rye for a 2-year period commencing January 1st,
2016.
and expiring December 31st, 2017. Be it further resolved that said Michael O'Connor be compensated for such services in the amount not to exceed $3,000 per year.
Motion and second, please.
So moved as amended.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
and Zuckerman.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution M. Resolved that effective immediately, Alan S. Carroll, 340 South Regent Street, Portchester, New York, Dean DeLeo, 9 Beacon Lane, Rybrook, New York, Scott Sprague, 17 Sand Street, Portchester, New York, and Ernest M. Tagani, 85 Breckenridge Avenue, Portchester, New York, be and they hereby are appointed as civil officers of the town of Rye to serve at the pleasure of the town board. And now therefore be it resolved that said Ernest M. Tagani will serve as Director of the Civil Officers for 1 year with no compensation and will ensure proper training and scheduling. And be it further resolved that said civil officers shall serve in this capacity at no compensation, but shall be entitled to collect statutory fees allowed by law in civil actions and proceedings.
Motion and second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution N. Resolved that Benedict Salinitro, residing at 609 Brook Street, Mamaroneck, New York, be and he hereby is reappointed a member of the Rye Town Park Commission for a 2-year term, commencing January 1st, 2016, and expiring December 31st, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
and Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution L. Whereas the New York State and local employees retirement system has requested that the town board establish a standard work schedule for elected officials for the purpose of determining days worked reportable to the New York State and local retirement system. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Rye hereby establishes 3 hours a day, 5 days a week as the standard work schedule for the town council members.
Motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Aye.
And Resolution P. Whereas the New York State and local employees retirement system has requested that the town board establish a standard work schedule for appointed officials for the purpose of determining days worked reportable to the New York State and local retirement system. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Rye hereby establishes 3 hours a day, 5 days a week as the standard work schedule for the town attorney and the town comptroller.
Motion and second, please.
On the question, Mr. Noto, is the town attorney and the town comptroller the only two appointed positions that would come under this?
Well, we're the only part-time, I think. The full-time employees are full-time, so yeah, I guess we're the only one.
What about the town accountant? Does not apply?
That's outsourced. That's
Okay,
not,
very good.
That's not a town employee.
Thank you.
Motion and second, please.
Motion. Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution Q. Whereas the town board of the town of Rye needs to retain counsel to handle certain certiorari matters. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Rye does and hereby retains Daniel D. Tartaglia, Esquire, with offices located at 800 Westchester Avenue, Suite N-307, Rybrook, New York, to represent the town of Rye in certiorari matters. Be it further resolved that Daniel D. Tartaglia, Esquire, shall be compensated at the rate of $200 per hour, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to execute a retainer letter reflecting the agreement with the aforementioned Daniel D. Tartaglia.
Motion and second, please.
On the question, town attorney Noto, is that compensation in keeping with standards?
Yeah, that's the same as Jeff Binder, and he's essentially replacing Aldo. Aldo's not doing it anymore, so.
Very good.
And it's the same fee.
Thank you. So moved.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
Zuckerman.
Yes.
Resolution R. Whereas by virtue of the authority vested in the supervisor of the town of Rye pursuant to Section 29 subsection 15 of the Town Law of the State of New York, to appoint Deborah A. Reisner, residing at 21 Norman Drive, Rye, New York, to perform the duties of Chief of Staff and Confidential Secretary to the Supervisor, to serve at his pleasure. Now therefore be it resolved that said Deborah A. Reisner be and she hereby is appointed Chief of Staff and Confidential Secretary to the Supervisor of the Town of Rye, New York, effective January 1st, 2016, at an annual compensation of $65,000, payable in equal biweekly installments.
Motion and a second, please.
Okay, you don't need a vote to appoint
was
her,
gonna
because she's
say.
already
No.
appointed,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you do, so you really don't need a resolution on this.
Right.
And the
Well,
salary
we
is
went over
set.
that. I think we need a resolution for the
Just
salary.
to pay her for the salary, but
Right.
not for the appointment. Okay, fine.
So moved. So moved for the money.
Say is, I would amend it simply to say that it resolved that she will be paid an annual compensation of $65,000. Not appointed, because she's already been
Very good.
appointed by the supervisor.
So moved as amended.
Well, before you go on, I submitted a letter appointing Debbie as the confidential secretary and chief of staff. So the first part of it should reflect whereas the supervisor has appointed Deborah Reisner. And then the second clause would be the money clause.
So as amended, you need a motion and a second.
So moved as amended.
Second?
Second.
Call the roll,
Jackson.
please.
Nardi.
Aye.
Baxter.
Yes.
Villanova.
Yes.
And Zuckerman.
Yes.
Whereas Gregory D. Arcaro has heretofore been appointed to the position of Program Administrator for the Town of Rye, and whereas said Gregory D. Arcaro has satisfactorily performed such services, and whereas as such duties shall include such projects as agreed upon with the supervisor of the Town of Rye. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Rye Supervisor Gary J. Zuckerman be and he hereby is authorized to execute a professional services contract with said Gregory D. Arcaro as Program Administrator. And be it further resolved that said Gregory D. Arcaro shall be an independent contractor whose contract shall run from January 1st, 2016 to December 31st, 2017, which is terminable on 30 days' notice by either party, and be it further resolved that the town shall pay said Gregory D. Arcaro for services rendered herein at a rate of $43 per hour, payable on a monthly basis, and the total compensation for said Gregory D. Arcaro shall not exceed $40,000 per year under the terms of the agreement.
This is basically similar to what Greg Arcaro had previously. Motion and a second, please.
On the question, the compensation, is this in keeping with the budget?
Yes.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Jackson,
Aye.
Nardi,
Aye.
Baxter,
Yes.
Villanova,
Yes.
and Zuckerman.
Yes. Thank you, Hope.